This week on the Fatside Global Sporting Podcast, Smith storms Edgbaston. Why can't Melo find a home? The tainted waters of swimming and the kickoff of another English Premier League season. And could we get fight of the century too? All that and more this week on the Fatside.
Johnson steaming.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry way downtown. Guerrero!
Why he's Tiger Woods and we're sitting here.
Yeah, g'day guys, and welcome back to another Fatside Global Sporting Podcast edition. I'm joined in studio with my man Jack Hollins. How are you, mate?
Very well, mate. Very excited. The English Premier League is upon us. 24 hours out. Will my Man City boys do it again? Yeah, I think they will, but we'll touch on that a bit later, mate.
Well, we'll save the overconfidence for a bit later on in the podcast, but look, first of all, we have to touch on what's happened in the Ashes in the first test at Edgbaston. Why don't you kick us off with some of the deets, mate?
Yeah, well, quick disclaimer. I'm talking to you, Dad. Turn your ears off, mate, because you're not going to like this. The much-anticipated Ashes Test Series did kick off in the fortress, well, which was the fortress of English cricket, Edgbaston in Birmingham. Bobby, it was looking pretty nice for England early on. Made easy work of Bancroft and Warner. They had them 2 for 17 on the ropes pretty early. Broad was looking very dangerous. Jimmy Anderson was hooping them, as he usually does, with a ripped calf, as we soon learnt. But, Steve Smith came to the crease and, well, we all know what happened after that.
Oh, you're not wrong, mate. Like, 8 for, and only 122 on the board.
Yes, yep, correct.
It looked like it could have been a 4-day test, that the English crowd was getting into the minds of Warner and Bancroft.
Waving their sandpaper.
I'll give them props. They were good. However, we'll discuss where they were pitiful and a little bit disgusting later on. However, it turned the tide of the entire event.
Yeah.
And it's turned the tide of the entire series.
Full, driven away. Back-to-back hundreds in the same test match for Stephen Smith. He joins an elite group of Australians who have done that. Redemption is well and truly complete.
Well, it was his first test since the infamous sandpaper gate. 15 months down the track. First test in, not the captain, so, relieved of his duties in a way. We saw him captaining most of the time in the field, but we'll get to that. However, my goodness, came back and picked up where he left off. He reminded everyone of who the bloody hell he is.
I'm back, baby!
Oh, didn't he?
Led from the front, as he always did pre-sandpaper gate, but my God, 144. Not a bad return, I would have thought.
Look, it's pretty solid. And the strike rate, not only in the first innings, but the second innings was reasonable too.
Yeah.
So he was, I think I said it to you at the time, we saw 3 or 4 different profiles of batting types from Steve Smith in that one stanza.
Yeah.
That when he had to dig deep, he was conservative, he picked the right opportunities. When he realised he was losing partners, he started to ramp it up a little bit. And then once he got a foil in Travis Head, that was happy to stick around for half an hour.
Yeah, dug in real deep.
He really started to crack in a little bit because he thought, okay, things might go sideways still.
Yep.
Trying to put some runs on the board, and didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Love Travis Head as well. Really good intent. He's definitely the future of Australian cricket.
Good game, both innings. Really liked it.
Absolutely, solid as a rock. But then they fell again. And they kept falling. But Peter Siddle, comes on in little 44 cameo at number 10.
Yep. Very nice.
So, very, very good. And we love him because, what? He's a Victorian.
He's a Victorian.
So, it was England's time to bat. And, Jason Roy showed everyone why he really is a short-form cricketer. No good. No good. He failed pretty miserably.
I know you're not happy with that performance.
No. And, I believe he should be in the middle of the order. And I think they should push Johnny Bairstow up, maybe to open the bat. I mean, he's not in form.
Well, his batting was not great.
Yeah, but I think he belongs a bit higher up the order. But I know he's a wicketkeeper and they traditionally bat last mantelpiece with the bat, if you will. But Rory Burns, 8th test match, maiden test century, 133. Looked fantastic. What a nice breath of fresh air. And he was heavily scrutinised and criticised, and the ECB were criticised for his selection. He silenced the doubters and made his maiden Test century in an Ashes series. Fantastic effort from him, and they're looking for an Alistair Cook replacement. He's making really nice early inroads there.
Yeah, it must give them some hope.
Sorry, a Sir Alistair Cook replacement.
Oh, jeez, turn it up. Must give them some hope for the future, but, you know, they've obviously got some other things they've got to deal with before the next test. What do they do with a replacement for James Anderson?
Yeah.
Jofra Archer looks like the likely one. He took 6 for.
Yeah, he dominated a sort of a county cricket game. Yeah, look, I think Moeen Ali, I think it's time for him to go.
Really?
Yeah, gone. Yeah, bring in Leach. He's a good little tweaker.
Denley was quite handy as a part-timer.
Yeah, I like Denley. I liked him. But
Yeah.
a lot of people are asking him to go as well. Very impatient. I think the wheels are really falling off already, which isn't good. Doesn't bode well for them. Because,
Yeah, I'm not
Australia's
surprised
up and about.
the British try and eat their own when
Yeah.
things get bad.
Yeah.
Australia's done that at points
Yeah.
through its test career as well. But in terms of saying that, would you make any change to the Australian team for the next test, considering Stark and Hazelwood sat out?
So Hazelwood took 3 for 36 in the in their sort of mid practice game. But no, I'd stick with this 11.
Yep.
I think they worked. There was great chemistry. James Pattinson, what a return! Yeah, electric.
Man, he looks like he's done time.
I know. Yeah,
That bloke looks
He's
tough.
10 kilos, I reckon.
I was like, do you run muscle for a cartel? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, I know. Tattoos. He's got
Yeah.
those like solid bikey wrinkles on his forehead.
Yeah,
now.
like
He's only 29 years
he's
old.
seen some shit.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Yeah. I feel like he was in season 6 and 7 of the like Sons of Anarchy or something, and he's just come back to cricket because
Yeah.
that's what he's good at. But look, he looks healthy, he looks rejuvenated, and God, he looks dangerous,
Doesn't he?
Yeah, it's really good to see him back in the fold. Peter Siddle, I mean, that second innings, I mean, people are describing him as the pick of the bowlers with no wickets. Great numbers, like 12 overs. He was 0 for 28. Off with 2 maidens in there, so really tight bowling.
Yeah, he was really unlucky because he fizzed that ball past the bat maybe a dozen times.
Yeah, just could not find an edge.
Yeah, it was really unlucky.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, no changes on the Australian front, but I'd probably tweak the English side in 2 spots.
Yep.
I'd bring Archer in for the injured Anderson,
Yep.
and I'd bring Leach in for Moeen Ali. Moeen Ali's no good for mine. He's had enough time.
Well, it's going to be hard mentally when he's clearly Nathan Lyon's Bonnie.
Yeah.
And Lyon looks dangerous.
He does.
Very dangerous.
He does.
Made the most of the opportunity that the wicket gave him.
Yep.
So if there's any chance that another wicket's going to present some nice rough and turn and bounce, he is going to have Moeen Ali on a plate whenever
absolutely.
he wants to.
Yep, absolutely. And it feels wrong for saying that to leave Stark and Hazelwood out. Like, what is going on here?
Doesn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, it was not even 12 months ago that the 4 of them were the best bowling tandem in the world by a mile. Yet 2 of them can't seem to crack in. If anyone does come in, it's probably Hazelwood, just based off the numbers he's just produced. I think they'll leave Stark. I think he'll come back for the 3rd test. Can't remember off the top of my head whether that's Old Trafford, but that'll suit him the best. It's a hard deck. It's quite nippy, so he'll get a lot of purchase off the wicket, and it can break down over a period of time as well. So, God, Australia in the box seat now, Bob. It's
Feels that way.
Bit gloomy for England all of a sudden.
Well, I know it's only the first test, but
Yeah.
The psychological war is over.
Yeah.
England's already lost that, despite having all the advantages leading into it. What has Australia got? We can call Ben Stokes a criminal.
Yeah.
But it's not going to stick. It doesn't stick the way Sandpaper Gate sticks.
Yeah.
So with all that ammunition, came up with nothing.
Yeah.
And Steve Smith, mate, if he just keeps leading by example, it's game over. And Matty Wade,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brilliant. Yeah.
a partner in crime is all Steve Smith needs, and then it is game over every test.
God, he'd be relieved after he failed in the first innings.
Yes.
Because he needs to show why he was selected and all the hard work that he did. A lot of people don't watch Sheffield Shield cricket. Well, let's be honest. We look at the numbers, and he averaged 50 and was by far the best first-class batsman last year. He's really proved it with that 110. It was a fantastic innings.
Now, one thing I want to know from you, mate. We're going to play you guys a little clip. This is the reaction of the crowd when Steve Smith got his century in the first innings.
Through the covers, Steve Smith is back. His first test back after the ban, and its normal service resumes.
All right, mate. Obviously, you heard what I just heard.
Yes, yeah.
What do you make of the decorum of the English crowd in that instance?
Not great.
Not great.
Not great. I'm speaking from a personal standpoint. I've sat with the Barmy Army on a number of occasions throughout my life.
Traitor. Yep.
Say what you will, but I was brought up in 3 lines, mate. You know what you know, don't you?
Failed parents.
No.
Have a good look at yourself, Andy.
They've never been like that. I mean, like in monumental achievements from individuals. So they pulled the piss out of everyone. They sung one of the funniest songs I've ever heard. Your sister is your mother, your brother in the Ponting family. Da, 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 da. And every time he looked at the crowd, they'd just boo him. They hated Ricky Ponting, like most other opposing teams did.
Yep.
Because he was so good and so brutal and fierce as a competitor. However, there was still a great deal of respect there. Obviously, Sandpaper Gate plays a big role in that. Mm-hmm. However, it not having to do with England at the time doesn't warrant...
Or Steve Smith, really.
Or Steve Smith. He was the fall guy. He was the leader, and it was under his watch, so he had to take the fall for Caveman Warner, who can't behave at the ripe age of 30-odd when he's a father of, 3 daughters now. Grow up, mate. I don't like David Warner. I've put that on the record numerous times. And I think he's on borrowed time with his form at the minute as well. But I must say, I wasn't impressed because they're better than that. However, it is in Birmingham, and they're a bit rough around the edges.
Right, so that was going to be my question. What happens if we see it at other tests?
Yeah,
because Steve Smith's got a couple of hundreds left in him.
Yeah.
Probably bank a couple of hundreds for the rest of this series. So what happens if we see it at other locations?
I'd be staggered if it happens at Lord's, the home of cricket, because it's a lot of posh toffs.
Fair enough.
Yeah, London. I'd be staggered. Manchester, not so much. Probably the same sort of reception as Birmingham. But booing a Centurion's not on.
No, it's not cricket.
No, it's just not cricket.
Yeah.
The famous.
Yeah, any other
line
sport, it's like, oh, boo, you just got a touchdown, or you just kicked a goal, and we don't like you.
Yeah.
So, albeit.
So there's a great deal of respect that you need to show to certain people. Warner, I would have understood. Okay, if he'd turned up in Warner fashion, then and him being booed would not have shocked me. But the volume of Steve Smith, very much so. Yeah.
Well, they were baying for blood at the start.
Yeah.
And they got Bancroft and Warner for nothing.
Yeah, and it felt great.
Huge tick. I thought that surely that satiates that crowd.
Yeah.
That'll be enough. They'll be happy now. They'll just be a normal cricketing crowd, and no.
Yeah.
So, no, not impressive. I don't think they'd cop that treatment in Australia, so be better next time.
Not in their defence for their actions, because we obviously don't like them. But the famous Stuart Broad didn't walk incident, and when he came to Australia, he copped hell. And fair enough. It's that wasn't great on his part. If I was in that position and I'd smashed it as hard as he did, I probably would have walked out of pure pride, reputation. Stuart Broad obviously doesn't, it's Australia, whatever it takes. But he copped a raw deal over here, I thought, and it's just the way it goes.
That's the way it should go for David Warner. Steve Smith is not David Warner though.
No.
And
Stuart,
Stuart Broad cheated.
Yes,
and he didn't play within the rules of cricket.
Yeah.
So if David Warner hits a ton and they boo him, I'll be like, well, this is what you have to live with, mate, for that bad decision.
Yeah,
but
borderline
that wasn't
cheating,
Steve Smith's decision.
He wasn't given, so he stood his ground. It's borderline.
Well, it's not cricket.
It's not cricket. Yeah. I wasn't saying that that's like for like, because it isn't. As I touched on before, it is unacceptable. But if it had been Warner, then definitely warranted, I think, because of his other misdemeanors in the past. He punched Joe Root in a pub.
Yeah.
Things like
but he gets a medal for that.
Yeah. And just on Joe Root quickly, questionable captaincy. I think
highly questionable captaincy.
The field placements. I mean, Shane, the legend himself, Shane Keith Warne, touched on it. He was stunned by the decision making, putting players in places where they just only hit there off a French cut or
Exactly.
Yeah. But
that's what happens when you put the guy from Home Alone in charge of your fielding setup.
Yeah. Well, Macaulay Culkin of sorts. He still ended up with Miller Kunis, who's a straight 10. So it's not that bad, is it?
Not too bad.
Anyway, before we fly off the topic, Bob. First of all, before we do move on, your tip for the second test.
Australia.
Okay.
Just momentum.
Yeah. I'm going to tip a draw. It's going to steady it down a bit. And it'll give England a red-hot shot to level the series at the third test. Anyway, hit us up with all the sport that's happening around the globe at the moment. I believe you've got a numerous amount of updates and little talking topics that you would like to touch on.
Well, I do, mate. This is something that caught my eye. It's been expanded over several weeks because there's various incidences that are linked. Now, the first domino was Mac Horton's protest against Sun Yang at the World Swimming Championships.
And Sun Yang and Deddy just embraced. And now congratulations from Horton. Interesting, during that national anthem, Horton did not stand up on the medal podium, and he's still not standing up.
You obviously saw that.
Yep.
Pretty much everyone in Australia saw that. He just refused to take the podium. He did say that he'd asked the fellow who came second. He told him in the change rooms and said, "This is what I'm going to do. Are you interested?" And the guy said, "No, I don't want anything to do with it."
Yep.
You know,
Which is fair.
Leave me out of it. Totally fair. And Mac Horton said that. He's like, fair enough. You know, no problem. No hard feelings.
It's just letting you know what I'm going to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be said that Sun Yang definitely... Okay, I can't say definitely. He is most likely, highly probably, a cheat.
Yeah.
So...
And an arrogant one too.
A very arrogant one. And, you know, he's from China.
Yeah.
Not trying to tar them all with the same brush, but if any of you haven't seen the Icarus documentary on Netflix, that pretty much uncovers the state-run doping schedule in Russia, if you think that China doesn't run one, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
Because that's where all of the performance-enhancing substances come from. So
That's where our clothes come from.
So Sun Yang, when tested, he got door-knocked and tested in the early hours. He gave the sample, and then he ended up running over and smashing all the samples with a hammer.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah, this was not that long ago, and that's why Mac Horton's protesting.
Of course.
Sun Yang had been caught earlier, I think it was 2014 or 15, tested positive, got a short ban. So he's got form in
3
this
months,
area.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep. Now, in an odd twist, days later, Australian swimmer Shayna Jack was outed as having tested positive by ASADA in her A and B sample for a banned substance, ligandrol. Now, I looked this up, told you I wanted to get my hands on a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's the new magic drug in the bodybuilding industry.
Ah, okay.
Builds muscle, cuts fat, gives you a little bit of a light tan or something like that as well.
Oh, nice.
And
Bit of
very
colour.
few side effects, no
Yeah.
blockers required. I was like, that sounds brilliant.
No backney.
Yeah, I just want to put that in my coffee every morning. Like,
Why not?
why the hell
Well, you're
not?
not a professional athlete, so you're not doping.
That's it. So, you know, there was a bit of was Mac Horton... unfortunately, he didn't know about that when he made his little protest, but it doesn't look great for Australia
Yeah.
to have had someone protest on the international stage and then have another athlete banned within a very short period of time.
We've been labelled hypocrites. Yeah.
Yeah, I do see that Australia, you know, they flew her home. There was a little bit of hoo-ha, and not necessarily covering up, but didn't disclose it immediately. But ASADA is supposed to keep those things quiet. If we've learned anything from ASADA investigations here before, they're not going to do that. They are like a leaking sieve. Then the other thing, I remember talking to you about this at the time.
Yeah.
I find this fascinating. There have been allegations by former Paralympic athletes of a misrepresentation of injuries so far as being coached to mimic specific symptoms of conditions like cerebral palsy and, quote, throw on a limp during grading testing for the Paralympics.
Wow. That is dirty stuff.
Isn't it?
That's
now,
filth, yeah.
It's clearly all designed to subvert the grading process in order to win medals because medals equal funding.
Yep.
Now, various quotes from multiple Paralympic athletes, some of the words that were used in quotes were, everyone knows,
Yep.
and no one's not doing it. So
No one's not doing... Wow. Okay.
it's pretty rife, but we are talking the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, borderline cheating within the Olympics. Who would have thought? Like, what do you think of the Olympics as a sporting event nowadays?
Not what I thought of it when I was a child. Seeing they've just introduced breakdancing. No, look, I'm going to use cycling as a little example as well.
That sport's ruined.
Yeah, it's ruined. It's gone forever. Yeah, Le Tour de France was on a month ago.
Yeah.
No one cares.
No.
Nah. I don't even know who won. and I'm a sports nut. I don't even know who won, but I'm sure, or I might be pointing the finger. He's probably on something. That's the way we are at the moment with cycling.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
I think that's what we're always going to be like, because it was tarnished forever. Yeah. We had a role model in Lance Armstrong, a worldwide renowned champion of world sport, and he's a cheat.
Yeah, and he sued people that called him a cheat.
Yeah, he's a piece of...
Yeah, he didn't just deny it.
He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, he ruined lives to protect his secret.
Yeah.
Pretty disgraceful.
You filthy animal.
Yeah, look, I know that swimming's not a hot topic, and it's probably something we might not talk about for another 12 months.
Yeah.
However, I just think what's happening at the moment is fascinating because they're tainted waters that these athletes are competing in.
It's my least favourite Olympic sport, but it's got me listening at the moment.
Last question, then we'll move on. Mac Horton, hero or wanker?
Hero.
Yeah, I liked it too. I thought it was good.
He's standing up. He didn't care what anyone thought. He spoke on Sunday night, the show on Channel Wisp. Channel Wisp's Channel 7, by the way, guys. They advertised it like it was a tell-all, but he was giving hints. Every question he was asked, it was, well, you make that up for yourself. You decide. What do you think? And, they're indirect answers, but they're answers still.
Look, ultimately...
That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that. He just said, I want clean sport.
Yeah.
Firm, clean sport.
Yep.
So, he wants it hard, to the edge, not over it.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that, mate. That's what it should be.
I love it, and that's why I'm grading him a hero. Hero or zero for you, mate?
Yeah.
Or wanker, as you said.
Not all the way to hero.
Yeah.
But strong character performance. I liked it.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah. I never thought I'd call a swimming hipster a hero, but here we are.
There you go. All right, mate. Next topic. Now, this one is fascinating. Carmelo Anthony.
Oh.
Now, there's not a lot of news coming out of the NBA at the moment, obviously. All the rosters are pretty much set. We've got some international warm-up stuff happening. No one apparently wants to play for Team USA. The team's got to put a name badge on so people know who they are.
Well, the franchise Shamrock himself, Kemba Walker, stepped up to the plate. He'll be the man.
No, look, it's not a bad team, but there's about 2 All-Stars in the entire team, so it's not a great representation of where the league's at. But Carmelo Anthony, we're going to play you guys just a little soundbite from his interview recently with Stephen A. Smith.
Looking at guys in the league that are perceived as having the necessary clout to have you on a roster, does it strike you as a tad bit odd that you're not on a roster considering the amount of friends that you have that would speak up on your behalf?
It strikes me that I'm not on the roster along with, due to my talent first, right? Due to my skill, knowing what I can still bring to this game, right? You mean to tell me it's 30 teams in the NBA? I can't make a 15-man roster out of 30 teams in the NBA? That's why I start to, think about this a lot more. 30 teams, I can't make a 15-man roster.
All right, Jackie boy, answer me this. Why hasn't Melo had a phone call?
I don't really know, but my answer is pretty standard. I think the general consensus is that he is in his early 30s. He has been on a decline, and I think the OKC experiment failed.
Still averaged over 20.
Yeah, but
it didn't look great.
It didn't look great.
No.
And I don't think he is not prepared. He's not prepared to take Melo time down a few notches.
Well,
I don't know how to word it.
He did say...
I just don't think he is as team-orientated as teams would like him to be.
You're right.
Yes.
100% you're right. And everyone can see that. And that's probably why no one's picked up the phone. The other key reason is, in case people forget, this man can't play defense.
Yeah, he's a liability on the defensive end.
Yeah, he just can't play defense.
Yeah.
So, if he's coming off your bench and he provides no defense and you're aiming for him to score 10, 12 points a game, that's it.
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah.
You'll get 6 or 7 and effort back the other way out of a second year.
Yep.
So
who's trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah, I kind of understand it. However,
it is a shame though, I must say.
He got 10 games at Houston before they gave up.
Yeah.
Houston are crying out for, Melo 2 or 3 years ago in their team right now.
Yeah.
Crying out for it.
Yep.
A catch and shoot or back him down into the post type of guy where you must guard him. You cannot leave him.
Yeah.
once they lost Trevor Ariza, Melo seemed like a sensible replacement. 10 games and then throw it all away.
Yeah.
For what?
It's a big element of disrespect I found at the time. I was gutted because I've always liked Melo. I like him. Are you a big fan?
Look,
or were you?
No, I think people like Stephen A. Smith and others are right. I think he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yep.
He's just someone who's never going to have the chips and things like that. Could have moved. Talked about offers that he got. Said that he decided to stay, but he was promised things as well. You know, it's complicated, but ultimately...
And that was at the Knicks?
Yeah, I think he stayed for the money.
Yeah.
And so be it. But, man, there's a certain gravitational pull of being known as the King of New York.
Yeah.
And I can understand...
he's involved in business, isn't he?
You'd think so.
His wife is.
Yeah, prostitution.
Yeah.
But, look, okay, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a team right now, where do you think he could fit right now?
I don't know why it struck me, but 2 teams.
Yep.
San Antonio.
Right. Okay.
And Dallas.
Dallas is interesting. I really had a look at Dallas. I think you might be onto something there.
Yeah.
There clearly might be a bit of Rick Carlisle influence, that he's not interested in coaching someone like Melo. Probably heard the war stories and been around long enough to know better.
Melo been coachable?
Well, that's the thing. The only other team I thought about was the Bulls, and even then I had to dig. I had to go through a lot of teams to come here. It's only because the Bulls got Thaddeus Young.
Yep.
Now, at their starting 5, they'll probably have Wendell Carter, who's a second-year player.
Yep.
At the 4, they'll probably start Lowry Markkanen. Now, other than Thad Young, that's it.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a way in which Melo could be the 10th guy on that roster and get minutes in at the 4.
Yeah.
If they go small ball with Thad Young at the 5 or small ball with Markkanen at the 5 type of setup, he could be the 4. But yeah, the defensive liability hurts so much.
Yeah.
But they should have half-decent wing coverage.
Yeah.
With their new young guy, they're going to have Otto Porter Jr. sitting on another wing, and they're going to have Zach LaVine, guarding out on the perimeter as well. It's a lot of long athleticism to try and deny some of those dump into the post passes. So Melo might be able to guard a back-to-the-basket 4 in a small ball lineup at the Bulls. But, mate, that's a complicated formula just to get him some minutes.
Yeah.
So I feel for him because Stephen A. Smith's probably right. He is probably better than, 100 players on NBA rosters.
Yep.
What do you do? And he sounds like he'd be happy to take a vet minimum too.
Yeah.
And no one's still interested. It's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. Warriors?
Mate, they're so desperate they might.
Yeah.
But the longer this goes on, the less likely it feels.
What a horrible ending to a career.
It's disgraceful.
Yeah.
I was never a huge Paul Pierce fan.
Yeah.
And I loved when Draymond gave it to him when he was like, he was going to get a farewell tour, and Draymond's like, they don't love you like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you are not that guy.
Yeah.
You don't deserve it. But Melo does not deserve this.
No.
I don't think any aging star really deserves this. And Melo was a superstar, not just a star.
Perennial All-Star. Yeah.
Team USA, gold medals, like the works.
Olympic Melo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How many kids do you see rocking I still see it, rocking a Denver or a Knicks Melo jersey?
Absolutely.
Quite a few. And, he was certainly no scrub.
No scrub.
I loved him.
All right, mate. Well, that's what we've got for the NBA. Now, one little thing. I know how I feel about this fella, but I want to know how you feel about him. Nick Kyrgios recently, a week ago, won the Washington Open. Did you see any of this?
I did. Yeah.
What'd you think?
I liked it. A bit more mature.
It was very mature.
Yeah.
He was, to his standard, he was a gentleman throughout the entire match.
Yeah.
Which is saying something.
Refreshing. Yeah.
But his post-game speech, that was interesting.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to say congrats to Neil. He's younger than me, and the career he's going to take path on is going to be pretty special. He's been one of the most consistent players all year, and I think he's a great example for anyone who wants to pick up a tennis racket. So congratulations to you, your team. I want to thank all the volunteers, for the tournament, the ball kids. You guys are amazing. I know I give you grief a little bit, but I love you. And the fans, you guys have been amazing all week. This has honestly been one of my favourite weeks of my life, to be honest. I've made massive strides.
So yeah, good to hear that from Nick Kyrgios. It sounds a little bit more level-headed. It was funny though, on match point, he did go over to some lady in the crowd and ask her where he should serve it to win the match. The arrogance is huge.
I love that though.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that. Yeah. So good on you, Nick Kyrgios, for winning. Just keep it in this format.
Yep.
And stop being outraged just because you lose. We don't want the bratty stuff.
Yeah.
We want the brave stuff. So well done, mate. Don't know if you paid any attention to this, mate, because I know it's not necessarily your forte. Boxing, world of boxing.
Hey.
See, Pac-Man.
I did.
Manny Pacquiao claimed a belt. He's in his 40s, this fella. Mayor Manny Pacquiao. He's an old fella now.
Yeah.
He handed previously undefeated Keith Thurman, who was on 29-0, his first loss to snatch the WBA welterweight title.
After 12 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. We have a split decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Glenn Feldman scores about 114 to 113 in favor of Keith Thurman. Judge at ringside, Dave Moretti scores about 115, 112 in favor of Manny Pacquiao. And judge at ringside, Tim Cheatham sees it 115 to 112 in favor of the winner. Boxing's pride of the Philippines, the ageless wonder, the one and only current WBA welterweight champion of the world.
One judge gave the fight 114 to 113 in favor of Thurman. The commentator said that judge should never be allowed to score another bout for the rest of his life. So poorly was his performance viewed.
Wow.
So Pacquiao should have unanimously won.
Yeah.
And quite comfortably. My question is, if a Mayweather-Pacquiao 2 were possible, clearly now's the time, how much money, how much moolah, how much cash would it take to get Money Mayweather in the ring with Pac-Man?
Well, I reckon 250 million.
Oh, it's not a bad guess. I reckon if the promoters and the organisers could get him in there for 250, they'd think they got a bargain.
Yeah.
I reckon they think they're
probably... Oh, you think up?
Oh, yeah.
How much? Half a bill?
I heard reports of up to 500.
Oh!
I'm thinking somewhere between the 300 to 350 is probably about right.
Wow.
You have to remember the fight purse for their first game, which was dubbed Fight of the Century.
Yeah.
Didn't really translate that way. That fight purse was $300 million.
Wow.
Mayweather walked away with 180 and Pacquiao walked away with 120.
Yeah.
At the end of that fight that Mayweather won. It would be big bickies. Because if they both said, yes, we're both fit, where, there's belts on the line, there's an undefeated legacy on the line.
Yeah.
How much money would you need to taint your undefeated legacy, potentially? You are Money Mayweather.
Yeah.
You are used to getting paid hundreds of millions for fighting. I don't think you're stepping in there and risking it for anything less than 300, 350.
Probably pushing that half a bill.
Yeah.
That 500.
I reckon a $500 million purse.
And he'll do it.
Yeah. 300 guaranteed his way, 200 guaranteed to Pacquiao, and then an extra 50 to the winner.
He'll win. Mayweather will win.
You reckon that's how much the money motivates him?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. What a gangster.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a gangster.
Man, it'll never happen. He'll never go and get in a UFC ring.
No.
Because he knows what would happen to him.
Well, he won't be around to spend his money wisely.
Yeah, well, he'd get picked apart by the whim of whoever he was fighting. Even if he fought whoever's ranked 10th in the world in the same weight class, he'd be, I'm going to take you to the ground and I'll punch you as many times as I feel like punching you before I choke you out and put you to sleep. I might even put you on an armbar and snap it, or an omoplata and just break some shit. Yeah, it's hilariously dangerous, man. That's not to take away from how great a boxer Floyd Mayweather is, but he's not the greatest fighter of all time, that's for damn sure. But I would love to see that bout, because I think Pacquiao is made of real heart. Yeah. Like, heart of a champion stuff.
Well, he was great in the first time their first bout. Really competitive.
He battled valiantly with that bung shoulder.
Yeah. He was cooked.
People tried to sue him after that for not disclosing the injury, because they lost a lot of money on that fight.
Yeah.
A lot of money. Well, that's everything I've got for you in the world of sport, mate. Now, why don't you give us all a little bit of a taste of what's happening back in your pseudo-homeland of the Great British Isles?
All right, Bob. Well, we're 24 hours out from the start of the English Premier League campaign of the 2019-2020 season. Now, the 3 new clubs that have been promoted from the Championship, Sheffield United, the Blades, Norwich City, and Aston Villa are back in the top flight. So, well done to the 3 of those. And, it all kicks off on the 10th of August, Saturday night. Liverpool take on Norwich, the newly relegated side. Liverpool narrowly missing out on the Premier League title last year, Paddy. They kick it all off against Norwich. Look, my tip for that one's Liverpool. They'll win 3-0. Second game, West Ham take on the champions, Man City, at their home ground in East London. Man City will win that 2-0 for mine. They'll get their season off to a nice start. Sad news from the Manchester City camp. Young gun Leroy Sané, the German, very quick, electric player, has torn his ACL and will miss the season, which is a real shame. But City will win that one for mine. Bournemouth take on Sheffield United. I think that'll be a draw because I have no idea who will win that one. I'll move on to Burnley Southampton. I think Southampton will win that one away at Burnley. I didn't rate Burnley last year. No good for mine. Everton will get the job done against Crystal Palace. Brighton, our boy, Aaron Moy, has been absolutely clutch, by the way. Transferred there on loan from Huddersfield Town, so he'll stay in the top flight for the time being. Is
he hanging out with Matty Ryan over there?
Yeah. So they're teaming up together. Be really nice. And they take on Watford away at Watford. Look, Watford too strong at home. Watford. Tottenham, European Champions League runners-up, so good on to them. They choked. Take on Aston Villa, the newly promoted, at home at their brand new stadium, I must add, which is an absolute roister-doister.
Hey man, I got a question for you.
Yes.
What's a hotspur?
It appears to be a bird standing on a football.
Why is it hot?
I don't know. They don't win anything, so it makes no sense. Spurs, way too strong. Like most Australians that have never really heard of this place, Leicester take on Wolves. It's Leicester. But Leicester take on Wolves at home.
Go Wolves.
Yeah, Wolves will win that away.
Win the cup.
Yeah. Newcastle take on Arsenal up at St James's Park in Newcastle. Arsenal will get their season off to a nice start and they'll get a win up there. And then Monday, 1:30 in the morning. But Man United take on Chelsea at Old Trafford. What a cracking affair. Man United, I must add, have just signed Harry Maguire, the one of the England heroes from World Cup last year.
Did you guys win that World Cup?
No, it didn't.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but look, he was fantastic there. Yeah, he's just signed a record deal as a defender. That's the highest paid defender transfer fee in the history of football.
Really?
£80 million. How would you like that, Bob?
Dear Lord.
So, no pressure, mate. No pressure going to the biggest club in the world, arguably. So they'll take on Chelsea, who are filthy. Absolutely filthy Chelsea. 32-year-old Brazilian David Luiz.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous.
Has just departed Chelsea for Arsenal. That's blasphemous, mate.
Is it?
One London side to another. Yeah, pretty blasphemous for mine. He left in 2014. He left Chelsea to go to PSG in France, and gave him his blessing. Like Eden Hazard's departed Chelsea for Real Madrid. They gave him his blessing. They did everything they could, and they won titles with Chelsea. But when you come back to Chelsea and then you leave again, and that destination's Arsenal, no.
No?
Nah, big no.
Well, he need an armoured vehicle to rock around in.
I think so, yeah.
Wow, that bad.
Probably not that bad.
You guys are basically South America in the Northern Hemisphere.
Nothing he's not used to. He's from Brazil. So he grew up pretty tough, I'm sure. But they're the two main transfer ones. And
mate,
Man United will kickstart their season off nicely at home and they'll get a 2-1 victory over Chelsea.
Can you enlighten me to this Gareth Bale mess?
Not really, but he's going to China. Well, Real Madrid won't release him, but they don't want him.
What the hell's going on?
So it's a bit of a merry-go-round of garbage, really. I'd expect better from one of the GOATs, Zinedine Zidane.
They're like, they don't want to have to pay him.
Yeah.
But they don't want to let him go for nothing. It's like when you ever put Hungry Jacks in the fridge and then tried to reheat it the next day thinking it'll still be alright?
Yeah.
It's not, man.
No.
But sometimes you still eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, disgusting. I just don't understand this mess, and I don't even follow it that much, but I went, 1 week I'm reading an article, they cannot wait for him to get out. He's dysfunctional. He's interrupting the locker room, blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is done. Done and dusted. Transfer, on offer. Yep.
Yeah.
Blocked. Why?
Crazy.
Insane.
Mental. Sort of reminds me of Chris Paul to the Lakers way back when. Sort of like, that got blocked, didn't it?
It
but
did,
that was for
by David
equalisation.
Stern. Yes.
David Stern.
Yeah.
That was for equalisation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know if David Stern would do so well these days, but that's for another night. But yeah, look, it's a strange situation. It makes zero sense, doesn't it? But anyway, I've got my top 6 prediction for the season, Bob.
Give it to me.
Man City will win again. They'll win their third.
How biased is this prediction?
Well, you look at the talent and the money. It's logical.
Okay.
It's very logical. But yeah, there's a bit of bias there.
Nice.
Because
That's
I
all right.
spoke to our very good friend here at the Fatside, Paddy, today. Big Liverpool man. Yeah, he's got Liverpool winning the league, so...
Not great at picking teams, is he?
Yeah. He got the Ashes one right. Yeah, so I've got Liverpool finishing second again, which is no disrespect, but I just think they're just a bit off Man City in that aspect, I think. Third, I've got Tottenham. I think they'll make a really decent run. God, they've gone nuts in the transfer window as well. As opposed to last year, they didn't recruit anyone. They didn't buy anyone. Harry Kane's certainly got new artillery in the shed and ready to use. So I think Tottenham will have a really, really good season. I have Arsenal sneaking into 4th spot and claiming a trip to Europe in the Champions League. I have Man United finishing 5th, just missing out. They're in a bit of a rocky sort of transition since the great Sir Alex Ferguson left, way back when. And then I've got Chelsea finishing 6th, so I just don't think they've lost Eden Hazard, world-class Belgian, to Real Madrid. They'll really miss him. And obviously David Luiz has left as well. So yeah, they've got a few holes, so they'll finish 6th for mine. But yeah, Man City are my tip. No bias.
How are the Wolves going to go?
Wolves? Just for you, Bob. 7th. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, nice. I see.
Is that your team, is it?
It is now.
Yeah.
I see we're paying 151-1 to win it outright.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Might put that in Jack's multi on the next footy podcast.
It's not bad.
Throw in a global sport, mate.
We're not Watford.
Yeah. But yeah, look, that's about all I really have for a preview. Just a little teaser. But next week I'll have plenty.
There'll be some juicy nuggets, some results, some draws. There'll be a lot to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that's all I've got time for on the Premier League front. Watch this space and can't wait to get stuck into reviewing it next week.
Yeah, me either, mate. Well, that wraps up everything that we've got for you guys for the Global for this edition. Make sure you stay tuned. Scroll down, like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you get the latest content as it drops. Our NBA free agency podcast we will be uploading shortly, so you can check that out if you're a mad NBA fan. We'll have heaps of more content, some AFL podcasts coming your way next week. And make sure you swing over and check out all the stuff on the social business. Jack's Instagram page is fit and firing every single week. Swing over to the Facebook page if you haven't already. Make sure you like the page and follow us, and we'll be sure to keep you guys updated and abreast of everything. Well, that's it from us, Jacko.
Yeah, it's been great. Been really nice talking world sport with you tonight, boy. Have an absolute blast, mate.
Uru, champ.
Uru, mate.
My God, what a fight!
Say good night to the bad guy.